The time for change is now.
If you care about me when I do this,
Or when I do this, you should care about us when we do this. I won't always be an athlete, but I will forever be a Black woman.
you've had my back here.
Now, have my back here. No one should feel unsafe due to the color of their skin.
All lives can't matter until Black lives matter.
Join us in the fight to end systemic racism.
Black lives matter.
Black lives matter. Black lives matter.
Black lives matter.
Wouldn't you agree with me that there are just too many people getting divorced these days? Well, it's time for us to secure the family unit, make it stronger. Well, that's all coming up next right here on The Ella Johnson Show. We'll be right back. And joining me for tonight's broadcast as my co-host is Latishia Rogers. Hello, everyone. It is Thursday night and it's time for the Ella Johnson Show. I am so excited for this part 2. Are you guys excited to be here tonight?
Yes.
Yes, I can tell. Everybody is so excited. Listen, we had a great conversation. If you missed last night, you have to go back and watch the broadcast because these two couples gave us some information that's going to get some of us married and keep some of us married. I'm just saying. Right, Tish?
Right.
And my beautiful co-host, Latishia Rogers, is joining us tonight. She was with us last night. And I am so excited to have you. Tish lives in California right now, but she is a nurse and she travels all over the country taking care of patients. Welcome to the broadcast, Tish.
Thank you, Ella.
I'm so excited. I love your new do tonight. You look beautiful.
You know, what can I say?
Girl, everybody can't do it. I'm just saying. But Tish, tell me, how did you enjoy last night as a co-host for the
it was fun. It was fun. And some of the insight that we got that from Malcolm and Nichole, Brian and Alecia, it was, wonderful advice that they gave, some of the experiences. I think it'll help a lot of people kind of get through some of their relationship issues.
I think so too. Well, let's meet these beautiful couples. First, we have Malcolm and Nichole. Now, in July, it will be 21 years, guys, that they actually said I
Ella, 23 years.
23 years. Thank you. 23 years. That's 2 more years. That's love. Listen, 23 years that they said I do. That's over 2 decades, okay? They have been together doing this thing called love. Now, with this union, they have 3 beautiful children, Malcolm IV, Sydney, and Miles. As a couple, they enjoy traveling. They enjoy spending time with family and friends and ministering to other couples. That's pretty good. And that's what they're doing tonight. They're ministering to other couples and singles, and it's working. These two have taken it to the next level because for 6 years, Malcolm and Nichole were marriage leaders. That means that they really understand what marriage is all about, that they actually became leaders at their church and they're teaching other people. That's pretty awesome. Now, I have to put some respect on their accomplishments because they've done some pretty stellar things as well. Malcolm has a BS in business, a master in theology. He's a master of marriage and family therapy and a master of business administration. They are truly a power couple because listen, she backs it up. She's got it going on also.
Yes.
Dr. Nichole Taylor has a BA in social work, master's and a specialist degree in education, and a PhD in reading literacy. Welcome. Look at that, all that knowledge in one household. I love it. I love it. Well, guys, tell me, how did you enjoy the broadcast last night?
You know, we talked about it last night. We really had a good time with you guys, and especially hearing Brian and Alecia's story. It was very nice, and even what Latishia shared with us.
I know.
Ella, you shared some good stuff too. I think all the way around. I mean, we just had a really good time with each other.
It really was a good conversation, and I hope people will play it back and watch it because it really, really will help you, because we get real, and we're going to get even more real tonight with some of the things that I know you want to know. Well, this other beautiful couple here is Brian and Alecia. Now, the thing that's so beautiful about these two is Brian was divorced, and Alecia came along and let him know it's okay to love again. Isn't that beautiful that you can find love after a divorce? I'm hoping that it happens for me. But this past September 2020, Brian and Alecia said their I do's in a Sunrise Beach wedding service after dating for 3 years. Now, last night it came out on the broadcast, and I might as well say it again. She didn't give it up. Okay? She was not giving it up. Y'all heard what? Y'all know what I'm talking about.
Yes,
grown folks. I didn't even know people did that. I'm just honored to meet someone that was able to stand her ground and stand by her values and morals. Right. But he waited for 3 years, and they finally got married. That's why he's smiling so much. That's why they got that glow around them tonight. Alecia, right. That's right. Alecia is an educator, and Brian is an actor, poet, and host of the show Confessions with Brian T. Bethea podcast on WHJM 102 Jams. Welcome to the broadcast, you guys.
Thank you. And it's WJHM 102 Jams.
Well, yeah, just straighten me then. Just straighten me. I love it. Well, y'all heard that. Say it again and give them your website as well.
Yes, WJHM102jams.com. My show is Confessions with Brian T. Bethea. And you can also, like, if you're on Facebook, you can also follow me on Facebook, Confessions with Brian T. Bethea.
Right. So if anybody got some confessions, this is the show to do it on. I won't be on there.
You should.
Tish, really? Girl, listen. I don't think they're ready. I was on there before, but we didn't go that deep.
You did.
I don't think they're ready, boo. They're not ready. Not for my truth.
I think you might be a light for some people that's in the dark.
Well,
Shine
you know
your
what?
light so they can see their way.
Well, you know what, Tish? I like that because I'm just so real. I'm not. That's why my books come from a place of what's real. Because I didn't want to write books and say, oh, I did this and I went to church and served the Lord every day. I did, but I did other stuff too. You know, and I told it from a place of honesty, because I think that's the only way people can heal is when you fix what's really hurting, right?
Yes.
All right, guys. Well, listen, we're going to have fun tonight. What we are going to do, for those of you that just tuned into the broadcast, first of all, I want to thank all of you for tuning in from YouTube, because for the next 90 days, this is where you're going to find us, right here on YouTube Live. And that's okay. You know, girl kind of got kicked out of Facebook for a minute. You know, I said some things.
What was that about? What was that about, Ella?
Well, I woke up this morning and I got a note saying that I am restricted from being able to go live on Facebook. And that's cool. I don't take stuff like that and mull over it all day. I figure out another way. It is what it is. Because what I can do with this video is I can actually take it, edit it, and still put it on Facebook through you guys. So you can still post the video. It's not just once it goes live, it's not just stops there. I have it on my computer, the entire show. Okay. So it's all good. We're not gonna let anything stop us. Okay, tonight we're gonna have fun, guys. All right. For you guys watching
the video now.
Huh?
How can we share the video now? Can we share it now?
Just share the link that I sent, that you guys sent earlier for YouTube. Yeah. Just submit that and tell people we're on now. People are watching, but we don't have a lot of people watching, but that's okay. It'll still be available, and after the show is over, we can then take the link and post it on Facebook. So no biggie. But anyway, we're gonna have some fun tonight because we're gonna play a game. I don't know if we want to get into the game first. You guys decide. Do you want to get into the game first, or do we want to ask some more questions? Do we want to talk a little bit more? You guys decide.
Well, what about the game since we started out with questions last night?
Okay, you want to start with the game? All right.
Yeah.
So you guys have.
My wife is competitive. I am, but I'm not that competitive. You know, I'm normally the one that defers and says, that's okay. But she's very competitive.
I love it.
And I was going to take questions. So you see how opposite?
So let me tell the viewers what's going to happen is I'm going to ask 5 questions, okay? And each one of the people, the couples here, each one of them, they're going to answer individually. Brian is going to answer, Alicia's going to answer, Malcolm is going to answer, and Nichole. They're going to answer. They're going to write it on their paper at the same time. And when I say, show me your answer, they're going to put it up in the screen. And I want to see if they are the same. Okay? Y'all remember the Newlywed Game? How many people remember the Newlywed Game?
I remember.
Oh, I was, because if you guys had said no, I was going to be like, I just told my age. For real. So you guys got the gist of it, right? There's only 5 questions, so we can keep it simple, so we can get back into asking. I'm just trying to see how compatible you guys are and how you think, how much you really know. And they're not going to be trick questions. They're going to be things that I think you guys should know, especially y'all, Malcolm and Nichole. I mean, you know, Brian might be still a little foggy. He's still in La La Land right now, so he might have forgotten some things.
They might beat us.
Yeah.
We're gonna find out. We're gonna find out.
He had to wait 3 years?
Yeah, he did. Yeah, he's still making up for lost time. I know. I don't blame you, brother. I don't blame you. Tish, right?
Hey.
I don't blame him. All right. So listen, y'all tell me when you're ready.
Ready.
First question. And I want you can't look at his answer, Alecia. Y'all can't look at each other's answers, okay? I want to know what you guys know individually. If I had 6 screens here, I would put you guys on a whole different screen, so you wouldn't cheat. All right, first question. What is your partner's least favorite body part? I'm going to count to 3, and I want you guys to show your answer. 1, 2, 3.
Oh.
Okay, can we see it?
Yeah.
All right, just tell me your answer, Brian and Alecia. What did you guys say?
I said arm.
What did he say?
Her stomach.
We both said stomach.
Yeah, I wrote belly, but stomach.
Okay. Now wait a minute. I might have been a little confused on that.
Yeah,
because you guys didn't know who to answer that question about. Let's start over.
Oh,
you see why I didn't get the job as the Newlywed host, right?
For her.
Yeah.
I answered what Nicole's part was.
But that's true. But this is what I'm trying to get at. Let's start. Y'all throw those papers away. Let's just start over.
Yeah.
This is what I really want to do. I want you to tell me, Brian, what her least favorite body part is. We can't answer that question because now you know the answer.
Yeah.
So let's go to another one. Let me find another one here. Okay. So we have to do it 2 ways so that I can find out if Alecia knows what it is for him and he knows what it is for him. So help me out, co-host.
So what you need to do is let Brian and Malcolm put their answers down.
Yes.
And you need to let Nichole and Alecia put the answers down
about
themselves, and then have Malcolm and Brian turn their answers around first, and then have the wives to turn theirs around afterwards to see if they match. Because the question is directed to the fellas about their wives.
Right.
Yeah.
And then I need the wives to answer what it is really. Okay, y'all got okay. Thank you, co-host. See that? Look at that. The nurse has fixed everything. I love it. Okay, so let's start over, guys. This is how we're gonna do it. Tish just made sense. When I ask the question, the men, I want you guys to answer about your partner. When they do it, wives, I want you to answer about you too. And let's see if they know you. Make sense? Y'all got it? So in other words, when I say, if I say, what's your partner's least favorite body part? Brian, you're going to say what you think it is, and Alicia's going to write what it really is. Got it? All right, so we're not going to do that question. Y'all ready? This is it. Name a country your partner would love to visit. So Malcolm, you're answering it about Nichole, and Nichole is actually writing what it is she wants to visit.
I wrote it down.
You got it?
Yeah, I already wrote it down. I'm ready.
All right. Tell me what your answer is, Malcolm.
Italy.
Italy. What did you say?
Italy.
Wow. Okay. I love it. I love it. Nice.
1 point for the Taylors.
1 point for the Taylors. All right, Brian. What did you say? Where does she want to visit?
I'm still. She's a world traveler. Oh, I see that look on her face. She's a world traveler, so I better know this right now.
Brian, you got 3 seconds. You can't change the rules.
Hold on. I know.
Brian, where does she want to visit?
I put.
She wants to go Egypt. Okay, where do you want to go?
Yeah, Italy, Paris.
Ooh,
Paris.
Brian, you're gonna need a little help after tonight.
He wants to go there.
All right.
Egypt is very beautiful, by the way.
Ooh, I can't wait to go there.
I've been.
I can't wait.
Very nice.
All right, y'all ready for the next question?
Yes.
The next question is, what is your partner's least favorite housework task?
This is for me?
Yeah. Who is it for?
Okay, I want you, Malcolm, to same way. Tell me, what is your wife's least favorite housework task? Brian, tell me, what is your wife's least favorite housework task?
Which one?
I'm sure she complains about it. Think about it. All right, Malcolm and Nichole, tell me, what do you have, Malcolm?
I hope I got this right. It's washing and folding clothes.
Okay. Right. I put folding clothes.
Nice. Wow.
We can. Yeah, that's the same. We can laundry.
Yeah, laundry.
Yeah.
Okay, Brian, what is her least favorite task?
The dishes.
What did you say?
She said what?
Cleaning the bathroom.
Cleaning the bathroom.
Brian.
Oh boy.
Look, you need to spend a little time trying to get to know your wife and stop trying to make up for them 3 years.
All right, we got another one here, guys.
She always complains about the dishes.
All right, y'all ready for the next question?
Yes.
Yeah.
All right, what type of music does your partner secretly like? What type of music does your partner secretly like?
Oh, you don't think of me like that.
Cardi B.
Thank you, Tish.
Cardi B, that's everyone. We don't want nobody to know.
Two types of music.
Okay, Malcolm, what did you say? What kind of music does she secretly like?
Gangster rap.
Gangster rap.
We got that one wrong. I put country.
Oh, I like country music too. I'm with you on that one.
But that's a hard one because I really love all music.
Yeah, she does.
Yeah,
she likes all music.
But the secret word here is secretly that nobody really knows. Okay, Brian, what kind of music? Brian,
she don't know either. So I'm just going to go ahead and just say R&B because she don't know what type of music she secretly likes. So
So which is it, Alecia?
I just put neo soul.
That's R&B.
No.
That's R&B.
You tried it.
Are you so Alecia? You secretly like R&B? It's a secret.
I mean, I really don't. Music is not my thing.
Oh,
I mean,
so
I like it. I like it, but like, I don't have.
Okay, I have one. What does your partner typically look forward to most about the weekend? What does your partner typically look forward to most about the weekend?
Who is this question for? Or is this for the guys?
Same thing.
Okay.
Just want to make sure I word it right.
What do you look forward to most? Okay, Malcolm, what do you have?
R&R.
R&R.
Family time.
Family time.
What does the judge say?
Nah, family time could be going to the movies. I don't think she wants to relax with the family. You know, take a nap with them. She probably can't.
Okay, Brian, what do you got?
Okay.
I put relaxing.
All right. Alecia, what is it?
Sleep.
Okay, that's good.
That's good. All right, guys, who won? Tish.
The Taylors.
Tish and Malcolm.
Malcolm and Nichole Taylor.
Well, I mean, you know, the reason this is good, guys, it is competitive, but it's also for people watching as well, because we don't spend enough time getting to know each other. That's what I was trying to prove, that even though we spend time together, we do things together, we sleep together, we wake up together, we sometimes shower together. I mean, I know that's getting a little bit too deep, but nonetheless, we still don't get to know each other for real. Right. And even with them being together 23 years, they still got a couple wrong.
They don't have that pillow talk, those deep conversations about. See, I'm nosy. I'm asking all the questions. I want to know. So I know everything about John.
Wow. I think you should. I think you should know everything about each other, and I think you should talk about everything. So let's jump into our questions. Was that fun, guys? Yeah. What did y'all get out of that? What do you need to do, Brian?
What do I need to do?
Yeah.
Take her to Paris.
I guess I got to get to know her a little bit better than I thought I knew her.
What about you guys, Malcolm and Nichole? What did that exercise do for you guys?
There's always room for improvement.
Always.
Yeah, I mean, you guys got most of them correct, so I think that's pretty good. That's pretty good. Well, last night we talked about a lot of stuff. We talked about your wedding. Tell me what your guys' favorite love song is. Everybody has a song. What's yours, Brian and Alecia?
You mean as a couple or as individually?
As a couple. Every couple has a song. Like, you know, when y'all, you know, like that's my song. The one that you would put on when you're trying to get some, that song.
Oh, that's definitely song. Find someone like you, Snow Allegra. That's our joy.
Okay. What about you guys, Malcolm and Nichole?
You know what? Nichole loves music. So, I mean, honestly, we have more than one. Yeah. So we were on, I went with her on a business trip one time, and we were doing karaoke, and I sang 100 Ways.
Oh,
wow.
I got chills. I love that song.
Yeah. And, you know, I think you just need to have something that you can kind of, like, if you're apart and maybe you're in the car, something you can listen to kind of remind you of your husband if you're away, or your wife. So I think everybody should have a song. Yeah, you definitely need a song. And sometimes if you're upset with each other, listening to that song will, you know, help kind of calm you down and kind of bring you back together. So that's a good thing.
I think so too. I think so too.
Definitely.
So let me ask you guys a question. We delved a little bit into our responsibilities, and I think it's very important. I need to know, because people watching this broadcast that are wise, people that are getting ready to go into this role, I need the men to tell me what is the role of a wife, and then I want the women to tell me what is the role of a husband? Because I want to make sure that you are doing what she needs and she's doing what you need. So I want to start with you, Malcolm. What is a wife's role?
Ooh, Ella, you trying to start something? Right? You know,
that's what I do, brother. That's what I do.
It's amazing. We had a conversation last night. Well, I could say this morning because that's how long it went. Because we happened to touch on something about serving each other. But on the honest
about
side,
what? About what? Serving. Okay.
Right, serving each other. But on the honest side, you know, if we want to keep it spiritual or biblical, you know, I am supposed to love my wife like I love myself. And she's supposed to love me the same way. So, you know, in the perfect world, it's not what she can do for me, but it's what I can do for her.
Ooh.
Yes. So when we talk about the wife's role, right? Her role, and this is all in all honesty, guys. Her role is to be loved. That's her role.
Okay. I mean,
that is her wife's role.
Is to be loved.
What'd you say, Tish?
Mm-hmm. He messed me up with that one.
He did. He messed me up with that one too.
I wasn't expecting that.
I wasn't expecting that because that was deep.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was
and
deep.
I don't always love like I should, right? Because it's work in progress. But I've told her that before, that, you know, I should be making love deposits, not withdrawals. So that's her wifely role, and that's to be loved.
Now, I want you to go into that a little bit further, because there are women that are told what their job and what their place in the home is. And I want you to tell me what's real, but also put some biblical aspect to it as well. Mm-hmm. When we talk about a wife, when it comes to work, when it comes to family, when it comes to kids, I kind of want to go there. Yeah. What do you feel her role is when it comes to all of that?
Well, you know, and I had to grow into this mindset, because when we first got married, I thought my wife's role was to give me sex when I wanted, to cook, to make me something to eat when I'm hungry, and then, you know, almost like when you press play on a DVD or something, like whenever I want to talk, I'll just press play, because, you know, men, we're few in words. But I learned something, right, when I got married, that no, there's a time and place for everything with majority of our women. And my wife taught me that yeah, we're married, but this is not an automatic. You know, sex is not, I'm ordering it to go, you know. So for me, I had to learn that, you know what, if I'm going to try to make this thing work, I'm going to have to do my best to try to love her like she should be loved. And, you know, and we get it kind of twisted on that biblical text that says, wives, obey your husband, you know, and, you know, we get that so twisted because the greatest command is towards the husband. Because in Ephesians, when it says, wives, obey your husband, the next command for men is, men, love your wives like Christ loved the church.
Right.
And I tell my friends, when has the church ever listened to Christ?
Ooh.
Never.
You order something else?
Although we're supposed to use emphatic terms, the church has always been disobedient to Christ. So then my role is more of a strong role, in that I am to love my wife even if she's not lovable in my perspective.
That's very good. That's very good.
That's a work in progress, and I've been working on it.
Okay, Nichole, what is a husband's role?
You know, we got married at a very young age, and my expectation as a wife, and what I thought Malcolm as a husband was, to provide for us. But I grew up, remember last night, we talked about, I grew up in a female-dominated household. So with that, I was very independent. And I had to allow him to be the husband. But I would take charge of a lot of things. And I had to learn he has it. He got it. Let him feel needed and wanted to be the head of the household. And so I had to learn to sit back and allow him to be that. Now, with roles and expectations, sometimes we can put expectations there on our spouses that we never discuss. Now, as a wife, I cook, I clean, I take care of the kids, and I do these things because I love him and I love my family. Malcolm has always he had a good example. He's always been we both provide, we both work. Um, he's going to take care of the things in the house that I can't do, plumbing. We never have to call a plumber. So, but I don't necessarily expect him to do things, but I do expect him to be the head of our household. And when I look into his eyes, I'm going to follow him because he's following Christ. And if I see Christ in his eyes, then I'm going to take the lead myself as a female. So again, the expectations is I expect him to guide our home as the head of our home in a Christ-like manner to guide us.
I like that because she took it back to what God intended it to be, for the man to lead. And I like that because she says, I'll look in his eyes for the answer and I'll follow him. But if he doesn't, and he's got a little bit of, if he needs some act right, then I'm going to handle it. Now, what do you think about that, Tish?
I can kind of understand where they're coming from. But like in some relationships, like I will talk about mine, is we don't have gender specific roles in my house. If John goes into the kitchen and something needs to be done, he's gonna do it. If we don't have food to eat, he'll cook, he'll wash the dishes, he'll dust, he'll vacuum. If I'm back there asleep, he won't bother me. He never expects me to do anything. I don't expect anything from him. If something needs to be done and if somebody is there, we take care. Whoever is there takes care of it. So, but I know most people do the gender specific roles, but that we don't, we don't do it. We just handle business. Whoever is there needs to handle it. And there's, we don't discuss it. It's automatic.
It's done.
It's done.
And
all right.
To piggyback off the piece, that is something that as couples we grow into. Eventually, in your marriage, you eventually don't worry about, okay, who didn't do this, who did this. You just, as a family, you tend to come together and you become as one more so, and you don't expect someone to do the gender roles. You don't look at that. It's if it's done, it gets done. And oh, Malcolm, you didn't do this today, or Nichole, you didn't do that today. Eventually, this becomes a time where you're working together and there's no expectations about it, because in a marriage, sometimes Malcolm may do more, I may do more. It's according to our schedules, what we're doing. But one thing for sure is when you have kids and you're married, if you come together and discuss your schedules and okay, my schedule is like this week, your schedule is like this. So that means you may have to pick up the kids more this week. So it is an expectation to me to be able to come together and talk about how you're going to do things. But you also grow into, we just do it as a family. It doesn't have to be really specific job duties or roles. It just happens over time.
And I think the difference is we all have different backgrounds. You guys have been married for 23 years. Alecia and Brian are newlyweds, and I think Alicia's this your first marriage background. You guys have been married for 23 years. Alecia and Brian are newlyweds, and I think Alicia's this your first marriage background. You guys have been married for 23 years. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
Is there an echo? I don't know what that is.
Does someone have their phones on?
You guys hear me?
You hear that?
No.
Yeah, it's a phone.
I'm hearing one.
Okay, whatever it was, it went
Something is
down.
on.
Yeah, something is
It
on.
might be me.
Yeah, I think it. Let me. I'm gonna find out real quick if it's you.
I was saying that we all bring something different to the, to the broadcast. Malcolm and Nichole have been married for 23 years. They have been together. They're the only marriage that each of them have had. Brian is in his second marriage, and Alicia's in her first, right? Alicia, are you in your first? And I am in my third marriage. So I think that's the reason why and my husband is also in his third marriage. So I think that is the reason why everything is just clicked for us, because we've been through a couple of other marriages with other people, and you kind of know what you want to do after you kind of experienced it a couple of times, and you come together and you kind of say, okay, I don't want this. You learn from your mistakes. But when you've been together a long time, it's just you guys building and building and building. So I think that, that's why it was easy for me this time, because I've been there so many times with a different person, that this time, we both discussed it. So it was easier for us this time, if you can get what I'm trying to say. And then for Brian and Alecia, it's probably going to be harder for them because they're older, and it's Alicia's first. So she probably has more expectations than somebody like Nichole and Malcolm, who've been together. They already know each other, so they already kind of have their marriage set,
Right.
how they want it.
So
it just depends on the relationship where everybody is with theirs.
Right. So let me let you guys answer, Brian and Alecia. Brian, tell me, what is a wife's role the way you see it? Is he frozen?
Yes.
Yeah. I don't know what's going on with this.
Okay.
They'll probably come back.
They'll come back. So I think those are very good answers when we talk about the roles. And I think it's important, but I think that we have to figure that out. Is that something, Malcolm and Nichole, that we should figure out before we say I do? How that's going to work? Or is it just something we should just go into the marriage with an understanding that, we just figure it out as we go? Is that something you should talk about?
Definitely. Everything should be laid out on the table, from if you do have children, even if you say I don't want children, unless there's a problem biologically that you can't have children, it's a possibility because you're going to be sexually active in your marriage.
Right.
You still need to talk about how we're going to raise and discipline our children. How are we going to spend our money? Like what we did not do was intensive marriage counseling. We just thought, hey, we kind of know each other. We're good. You're good. I'm good. Decided to do the marriage thing. But my advice to anyone thinking about marriage is to lay all your cards on the table. Mm-hmm. And that is even the stuff that you want to hide. Just lay it out on the table. What do you say, Brad?
Yeah, you should discuss it, because sometimes I can give a good example. A college friend of mine, she's been married 25 years. After she had their first child, she said she didn't want to go back to work. And her husband was like, we didn't discuss that. I always thought it was two incomes. So, that was things that, you learned, but you never thought I needed to discuss that. She didn't at the time, but, and she didn't quit her job because they talked about it. And so there are things you should discuss, but also, even if you discuss things, if it hasn't happened yet, you really don't know how you would react to it. And
right.
Happen. But one thing for sure, as you grow in your marriage, your expectations may be one way in, but as you grow, it changes. It can change over time. And so what I've learned for me is that I don't need to put expectations on Malcolm because of what's in my head. But if we're working together as a family unit, that's what counts. Working together as a family unit and agreeing on those things. And sometimes it's 23 at the time, and it takes a minute, and you get there.
And then one more thing, if we have some time. When we were going through our problems at the beginning of our marriage, Nichole, being the educator that she is, she purchased the marriage books. And one of the books that we read, I'll never forget what it said. It said that men marry women expecting them to stay the same, and women marry men hoping they'll change. So, you guys, when I say you guys, women, you make us a project in the works. Like how you talked about boxes, Tisha. Well, he doesn't do this, he doesn't do that, but he does this, but I'll work on him to get him to do that. But we basically stay the same. And like when I married Nichole, my boxes were, I want her to stay just like that. But she didn't. Because like it was crazy, like when we first got married, I mean, she would listen to me. Like if I said, hey, let's turn left, she's like, hey, let's turn left. And then it was like turn 25, 26. She just would not. I mean, I would say let's turn left. She would say I already turned right before she even said it. And then
I remember I was about Nichole.
Nichole was trying.
Let me give you the punchline. I mean, we were riding, and I'm in the car talking about, you used to listen to me. You used to this. I mean, I was going down the list. And then she just looked at me and she said, I grew up. And then went back to our books, for people who marry young, it's like women change like every 5 years, right? And it's just the truth. And there's a new set of principles. Like I met her, she was 20. So by the time she turns 25, she's got a new set of principles and rules.
It's like women, it's like we kind of grow into you said too much old man. It's like you grow into your own as a woman. We evolve.
That's true.
Not saying that it's a negative thing, especially if we're growing, we're becoming more confident in ourselves. We're doing different things. We're realizing things about ourselves. When you're your 20s, you get to your 30s, your 40s. And I don't know. I grew into my womanhood. And it was just
hormones too. Throw some hormones in there. Hormones.
Yeah. Well, let's go back to you and Brian and Alecia. Let me let you guys answer that question. The question on the table is, Brian, tell me, what is a wife's role?
Let me see. I'm going to start with this.
Doesn't he look like he's being very careful right now? It looks like he said Ella.
Hey,
I feel you, brother.
Brian, you can tell us that Alecia beat you up during the break when you guys were gone. Just be honest. Blink twice.
Just a little bit.
I know. And she was like, what you mean you don't know? You didn't know, huh? Oh, okay. Well, I'm going to remind you. I already feel her. Yeah, so you might as well just do it in front of us.
Just blink twice if you need help, Brian, okay?
I'm going to say, what I really want to say is, it is a wife's job to, we know it sounds cliche, but it is what it is, to definitely support her husband, but not like, I don't mean support like do what, he says or what have you, but like also just help guide some of the decisions. A husband should not make any decisions without consulting his wife first. That's just my personal thing. And I believe the Bible speaks about it being wise for a husband to consult his wife with things. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think going back to what I was saying, it is her job to really support her husband and make sure that he makes the right decisions for both of them in that regard. And then, there are some other things, because I don't know no wife that lets her husband step out the door not looking right. Not one wife.
I do. I do.
Every wife I know is like, what are you wearing? Do not step out the house looking like that. No, you are not. Come in. No, wear this shirt with these pants or what have you. There's so much that they can do. Wives are definitely the fashion designer of the family. A lot of times the nurturer. So they're, y'all are the psychologist of the family. the medical doctor, the nurse, the nutritionist. You know, y'all wear so many hats. You know, the workout person. You know, everything. So there's so many facets. It's just not one to that. So there's so many facets. That's
now,
what
Alecia, I want you to tell me what is the husband's role in the marriage?
I think it's to be the head and the leader of the family. I know that's kind of been said, but I think that's what he's the umbrella, that the protector, the one that that just keeps the family going and providing. And that doesn't necessarily always mean
Money.
Can be, but not necessarily always financial. But yeah, all of those things, and it can be in just different aspects. But I like that Brian is an encourager to me, and a supporter as well. But just someone where we can be teammates in this relationship.
Like that, good one, baby.
Now let me ask both of the couples something. Do either of you guys ever get jealous? Keep it real.
Jealous of.
Jealous. Okay, let me. Okay, jealousy meaning Brian, Malcolm. Do you ever look at your wife and think that they've given some other person, whether it be man or female, man or woman, more attention? Or do you not like the way a certain man or woman looked at your wife and you start feeling a little jealousy? Does that ever come into these marriages? Ever? In any kind of way?
I can tell you something that's funny. I used to get really jealous, right? Our youngest son, he is a mama's boy. And when he was like a toddler, I would walk in the room and I would hear all this kissing on the cheeks and mwah, mwah, mwah. And I'm like, I would really looking like, I would look and say, what about me?
Were you jealous of the baby?
Malcolm, you jealous of the baby?
Yeah, she would love on him, and I would be like, man, am I getting that kind of love?
That is so sad.
Yeah, for real. And it's funny because he would look over and be like, yeah.
Yeah, like $9.99.
I'm thinking he's gonna say a coworker or somebody, right, Tish? I'm thinking he's gonna come the baby.
Your baby, not her baby. That's you guys' baby.
Yeah, I know, but he would get all that love, and I'm being serious. I would really.
He's the baby.
Oh, I was jealous.
Did she take care of it? Did she handle things though when she got done taking care of the baby? That's all I want to know.
Yeah, that's the real baby right there, Malcolm.
You know how it is, ladies. I mean, especially for you ladies who have sons, it's like you guys look at your boys like it ain't nothing else besides them, And
but
and I just got jealous.
But to Malcolm, one of his love languages, touching and affection.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't grow up in a household where, we make, hug and say I love you, but Malcolm grew up in a family where everybody's touchy-feely. So when we started dating, I had to
more like a pat on the back.
Yeah, I'd be like, I had to be intentional about touching him and showing that affection. And he eventually knew that it wasn't that I didn't want to, but I had to really practice that and do it. So eventually over the years, it just became more natural, hugging and touching and, kissing him. And so it got better. And I remember one day we were driving in the car and I just rubbed on his leg and his head. He said, thank you. So I'm like, thank you for that, but I realized that was one of his love languages.
Yeah, because that's something she just didn't do.
Now, this is interesting because I want people to pay attention right here. This is good. He knew that. She knew that that's what he wanted because he took time to find out why she wasn't touchy-feely, right? Am I right on that? You had to talk. You had to communicate about that.
Right.
You didn't just get in your feelings, Malcolm, because you felt like she didn't show you attention.
Right.
It's because she just wasn't used to doing that.
Mhm.
Right.
And when I would go to Monroeville, I would see for myself that her side of the family they didn't do that. I mean,
Right.
and I mean, I would make them. And when I would walk in, I'm like, I'm hugging everybody. You know, I would say that. And, you know, some of her aunts would do like that. Like, I don't know this man, you know. But then they begin to realize that that's just how it was. I mean, because her grandmother was adamant. She's like, a man doesn't touch me. I'm like, well, I'm your granddaughter's husband, so I'm touching you, you know. And then she became accustomed to it, but that's just how they work.
I like that. I really like that. Brian and Alecia, tell me, jealousy? Yes? No?
Maybe on her part.
Oh, now that is just, we appreciate that. How do you know she's jealous? How do you know she's jealous? I'm gonna ask you. Put your business out here now.
She'll be real slick about it because, you know, I'm a poet or what have you. So it's one of those things where I like to use the word jocurious. I mean, like you're joking, but you're kind of serious. So I do poetry or what have you. I do spoken word. And so sometimes I go out to the open mics, I'll come back home and she'll say something slick like, how many of them hussies tried to holler at you?
Did she say?
Well,
she didn't say. She didn't say
yes,
hussies, did she?
Yes, you do. You use them. She's the oldest 40-year-old.
It's okay.
He's about to be in Alabama.
She's 45. She is 45. F-I-N-E.
That's right, girl. 45. I like
old
it.
terms like she talks like she's 97. So hussies would be a term like she would actually use.
I do not use that word. So there are times where I ask him, things, who did someone try to holler at you or something like that? And he's like, no. Brian thinks every woman is his friend.
No, I don't. Stop it right there. No, I do not.
So.
Okay, what do you mean? What do you mean?
Alicia's defense, they're new, they're fresh, and they have to go through that stage. Everybody goes through it.
That's
when you
true.
first get together, you gotta, iron out the kinks and stuff. So there's nothing wrong with that, Alecia. Keep him in check so he can know.
All right. Now, Malcolm, I want you to give Nichole. I want you to give Alecia some advice on that because you guys have been together a lot longer. So give her some advice on where she's coming from with every time he comes in, because they can't keep that up. That's not going to work. So what does she need to do in the interim to try to work through that?
Well, to be honest with you, Alecia, that is natural because when I met him, he was in the hair salon, and a lot of the college females would come in and they would hug on him and touch on him, and I was like, that was bothering me. So
we weren't married.
We weren't married then, though. But my personality, I said to myself, you have to get it together. I told myself that because Malcolm has never given me a reason to doubt that. So what I did for a while was I stopped going into the hair salon until I got myself together. So the next time I went in there, I would be okay. And I had to tell myself, either I'm going to trust him and not worry about that. Trust him. And that's what I did. And that might be a cliche to some people, but for me, I had to work on me. Either he's never given me a reason to doubt him. So I had to tell myself, that's just them. But now he had to realize when I did mention it to him that, all these girls come in, they touching on you, you don't say anything. I said, now remember, when it happens to you, I want you to be mindful of that. Mm-hmm. So we went out to eat one time. And an A&M student that I went to school with, a guy, he said, hey, and he was shaking my hand. And Malcolm said, he held your hand too long. So I was like, really? I said, remember?
He was scratching her palm.
He was not scratching my palm. But I just told him, remember what I was trying to say to you about the females, so you just have to have that conversation, but, make sure the trust is there and confident in Brian that he has your back. And And I would just make myself known. I would go when the girls would come up. I would just interrupt in the middle. Hey, how you doing?
She would.
Mm-hmm.
That's me. That's me there.
Period.
Yeah,
That's her.
yeah, that's
How
me.
are you?
So what?
Nice to meet you.
Yeah. So how do you feel about what she said, Alecia? Does you think that?
No, and that's great advice. And I think for the most part, that's what I do. But I just want him to realize that every woman is not your friend, and sometimes women do have hidden agendas.
True.
That I don't think men see all the time. And as a woman, you can kind of see, okay, what's going on here, or this person might be lingering around, or staying in touch, or whatever, for different reasons. So
she thinks I'm naive like that, and I'm not really not. I've done seen it all and I've seen most of it and been through most of that. So unless women have changed their game, I kind of know the tricks of the trade already. Because I'm either, I have women friends that are some of the best players you've ever seen. So I've seen a lot of their tricks of the trade, in terms of the stuff that they do, and I've had some of those tricks probably tried on me before. So it depends.
Man, let me ask you a question.
You just got to be vigilant and careful with that. You
Yeah.
have to really make sure that you're keeping everything in check. And sometimes when you're so confident about that, it can bite you too. Because some things can kind of sneak up on you. The serpent was, he was a serpent. He was a snake, and he was tricky. So you just never know. So I think you have to be careful.
Now, man, does that bother you when they're jealous and they question you? Does that bother you, or do you think it's like, you stick your chest out?
I'll be honest. In our marriage, Nichole didn't question me like that. I mean, when we were dating, you have those moments,
Right.
Where she did. But now in our marriage, she didn't question me that way. At least I don't remember. Not to say that we had a perfect existence on that end, but I don't remember, because I tried to go above and beyond in letting her know that she was safe with me.
She was safe, yeah.
And
women like that. They like to feel safe, right, Tish?
Yes.
They like to feel safe. Did your husbands make you feel safe, Tish?
All the time.
Mm-hmm.
All the time. He's very straightforward guy, and no woman is gonna run up on him and hug him. He's not gonna let it happen. Like he's just that type of person. But then I'm the type of well, let me tell you something. A 93-year-old lady told me, she was my patient one day, and we were just chit-chatting about some things, and she said, "Baby, don't ever let another woman make you feel like she has more than you. Don't ever. Don't." She said, no woman has more than what you have. When it comes as far as relationship wise, if you're married to somebody, never let another woman outside of your marriage make you feel so intimidated that, you think that she has something that you don't have that your husband might see in her. So I always carry that with me. So I kind of have this little arrogance about me that I don't even care about the other women. They're not even
visible to you. You don't even see it.
Yes.
Yeah.
So sometimes, yeah. So my husband makes me feel like I'm the finest thing on the planet. I know I'm not. I know I'm not, but I think that's your job as a husband. You got to make your woman feel that way so you can build her confidence up. So when she see all these other women around, they're nothing to her. What they call it, a non-factor.
Non-factor, yes.
Non-factor. So that's how I feel about anything. Even in my last marriage, other women, they're just a non-factor to me. It doesn't even cross my mind, because you shouldn't even be in that place to where you feel like somebody is threatening. You should never make your woman feel threatened by anybody else. So as far as other women coming up hugging you, you got to stop that, because like Alecia said, There are women that have another agenda. Doesn't matter what you think. That's my friend. It doesn't matter. Friends have agendas. So you just really have to be careful with that kind of stuff.
Very good advice. Very
Yeah.
good advice. Well, Malcolm, I'm coming at you. We're going to move to a different topic. All right. This is the topic that everybody wants to know about. We're going to talk about sex now. We're all married people here. Well, I'm trying to be in the game. Y'all just let me for tonight. Okay. I'm not. I'm married in the spirit. God got me hooked up with somebody. He just hasn't revealed him yet.
There it is.
Right? Okay. So in sex, in marriage, sometimes this is what I've heard on the street, is that when men and women get married, the women and women, I'm sorry, but this is what I heard on the street, that the women start saying, no, I'm not doing that. I'm tired. You already had some one time. That's enough. I got to go to work.
I agree.
I need to talk about this because we need to talk about everything on the Ella Johnson show.
I agree.
Women, I'm gonna let the men answer this. How do you feel about this? I'm not gonna put the women on blast because I know these women didn't say that, but I'm talking about the ones out there that have said stuff like that. Talk to me about that, Malcolm.
Well, I think some of it has to do with physically being tired, but when we get to that point in our marriage and the woman is at that point, let's remove if there's some type of biological issue. Let's just say everything is perfect, right? But she's like, I'm tired, I don't want it. It's usually mentally tired, right? There's a mental fatigue. And we've been married long enough. When we first got married, that was our issues, where my wife shut down. She was like, no. And it was because we were at that point. Remember, I told you guys yesterday, we were at that point where we were trying to figure out, did we want to stay together, right? So because we were at that point, you're not, love making is not number one on your list, because now your mind is just turn left and right on what's my next move, and when we begin to talk about our future, our marriage future, things just begin to open up. And, couples who were well grounded used to tell us sex gets better when you get older, and when you're together longer. And that is true. That is true. And some people, I've had friends say, I just can't be get the same flavor ice cream the rest of my life, And I tell them, that doesn't matter. It's how you enjoy that same flavor, So for us, we begin to just love each other mentally first. And when we loved each other mentally first, that sexual activity just is there,
So for you guys, it sounds like you actually went through that, but because you talked about it, you were able to work through it. And how receptive were you, Nichole, to those conversations?
I was, again, I was young, and so if I was in school, I was working, you come home, you cook, and then there's a denial if I got upset. If I was upset, no, you're not getting any, And,
yes, the candy store is closed. Okay.
Wait a minute. See, I'm from old school that you never say no to your husband. Am I wrong for thinking that?
Can I speak on that?
Even when you're mad.
I will admit, as a young woman, I did do that, and that was wrong. And I will admit that, because I was using my power, But again, from couples ministry, us growing together, I learned not to do that. I didn't, and so with communication and things like that, we conquered that. So, but I admit, when I was upset, I would.
Yeah, she's a stubborn woman.
I would, being honest.
She's got, like Kim said, she's got that Ola May in her.
Oh my God.
Oh yes, God. I love Ola May. I love her.
We had only been married for about 6 months, and we got into an argument. So we stopped talking to each other. And I said, I know after about 2 days she'll be straight. This girl was on the 7th day and didn't talk to me. She broke me down. I said, whoa. I said, we may not make it, I said, this girl, she was good. She actually would not talk. And I said, what woman can make it that long? And she was ready. She was looking at me like, hey, how much longer do you want to go with this? Because I've got it, So, yeah.
I like that, Nichole. I love it. I'm being straight up. I love that. Now, what did you want to put on it, Tish? What did you want to say about the no sex and saying no?
I was just going to say, I never say no. And the reason being is sometimes I'm tired. I work, this past year, I worked 6 days a week for a whole year, sometimes 7 days, 6 days a week in the hospital, on my feet all day, 12 hours. But I never say no. And the reason being is, and this gonna sound bad, but they don't really be doing that for about 5 or 10 minutes. Honestly, I can give you 5 or 10 minutes of my time. So I look at it like that. Look, I'm tired, but let me just go ahead and let this 5-10 minutes, that's it. So it's nothing to me. So that's why he don't ask. He just come over there and get the rubbing and stuff. And I don't say that. And I be like, oh God. Sometimes I be so aggravated. But I don't tell him that. I just let him do what he do. And I go on to sleep.
Now tell me why.
You give 5-10 minutes.
Other than the fact that you think it's only gonna last 5 minutes, what is it really? What is the real reason you say I'm gonna give this to him whether I'm tired or not? Other than the fact that
that's my husband.
Okay.
So apparently he must be in the mood. He must want some. I'm not gonna stop him from doing what he needs to do because I don't want to do it. I think that's unfair. You know, because if it was up to me, I would never do it. For me, I'm just saying I'm good on that. But
that's a different show right there.
Yeah, no, but I'm saying I'm not saying that I don't. It sounds kind of bad, but I'm being honest.
Yeah.
Look, but I'm always tired because I work every day. My contract that I work, we have to. When I was in New York working, we worked 7 days straight, and I did that for 2-3 months. And then when I got to Texas, it's 6 days straight. But that's how we have to working in COVID. So, I do get tired, but he'll never hear from me. I don't complain about anything.
I like that, Tish.
I don't. But I complain to myself. I'm in my head like, oh, here this Negro go right here. He's coming to you. He's coming to you. But I don't, because I don't want him ever to feel unwanted, unloved, or anything like that. I want him to know that I love him and I got you. So if he come over there rubbing and going on, okay.
Yeah.
This is I'll get into it in a few minutes, but
Nisi says 5 or 10 minutes. I understand.
Well, I'm being honest. I might be exaggerating a little bit, but most of the time that's all it is. They don't really be doing what they think they be doing. We love y'all anyway.
It takes a real man to admit that's true.
but that's why I say 5 or 10 minutes. You can do that, ladies. You can give that man 5, 10, 15. Just do it. Just do it. That's your husband.
Well, as I stated though, that was at the beginning of our marriage.
That was the beginning, yeah.
But let me add this, Nichole. I haven't been like this my whole life now. I was a hot mess in my first marriage. A hot mess. And I was married 12 years.
So
that was a 12-year mess.
So no was in your vocabulary?
Huh?
No was in your vocabulary on the first
every day. You better get out my face. But there were underlying things going on.
Right.
Just foolishness.
Right.
And I was not there for it, but I had to grow up just like, Nichole said, I grew. And in my second marriage, I understood that all of that foolishness that I did in my first marriage was not coming with me ever to another relationship. So that
right.
taught me, if that made me the woman that I am today. And my husband tells me I'm the best thing that's ever happened to him. So I think I'm doing all right.
I think you are too. I think you are too, because your experiences prepared you for this marriage. Yeah. That's what I love about you, Tish. You're very real and honest. And you're saying a lot of stuff that people watching this broadcast are feeling too.
Yeah,
So,
I'll say it. You just tell me, I'll say it for you.
I know you will. I know you will. Now, Brian and Alecia, you guys are looking kind of quiet over there. Like, I hope Ella doesn't remember we haven't answered this question.
Oh, no, we just listening to everybody else. That's all.
Well, talk to me. What is this sex thing with? I mean, I'm not trying to get, play by play, none of that. What I'm trying to find out is where do you guys fall with this sex thing and not doing it? Is there ever a time where she doesn't want to, you want her to? Because y'all are married now, so it's all good now. So, I mean, do you guys ever have those kinds of issues?
I think, yeah, we do. But I think, at first it was fun. We did, like we said, we waited. So we had an opportunity to just enjoy and have fun. But then work and other obligations. And like you all were saying, you get tired and stressed and, other things factor in, health. So different things can factor in to, not to say that you don't want to at all, but it's just like, okay, let's go. wait. Okay, yeah. Okay. I think I can go through.
So then you do it. It's an obligation type sex.
Well, he doesn't like that. He doesn't like that. So if I'm tired, he won't bother me, or ask me, but there are times when I know in my head, like Tish was saying, I want to be able to be that provide that love that he wants. And I'm realizing that is his love language. He, that's a way that a man, or at least Brian, feels loved. Just the way he expresses himself afterwards, I understand that. But there are other factors that are very real and heavy that can kind of get into play and in the way.
So Brian, how do you feel about all of that? I mean, is it something you're like, listen, I love my wife, I'll make the sacrifice, even though I want to, I'll just go on in here and go to bed? I mean, how do you deal with it?
Yeah, it's frustrating. It's frustrating. Because she doesn't, and this is one thing we learned in marriage counseling, and she didn't realize that men actually do this till we went to counseling. So, most of us as men, we have a compartment box. So like for us, like if there's anything bothering us at work, we're going to put that stuff in the "this is bothering me at work" box and leave it over there. And I can still go have sex with her and not even think about it. She's not built that way. She's built like if something's really bothering her, it's going to be on her mind like all day, all night. And I know for sure I'm not getting any at all. So, she doesn't compartmentalize. I do. I'm like, if I was mad at her yesterday, that was, or if I'm still mad at her from something she did yesterday, yeah.
He could be mad at me right then. Okay, let's go have sex.
Okay.
Well, that is a stress reliever. I'm just going to be real with you, Alecia. If you're coming home and you're mad, that's the best thing to do. Just go ahead and knock that on out. And I guarantee you won't think about what happened at work. And I think that's an issue with marriage, Malcolm and Nichole. And I want us to figure this out because this is important. Because women, we do wear our emotions on our sleeves and we take everything in. See, me, I'm one of those people. When I leave the job at 5:01, I've forgotten about it. I'm thinking about what I really want to do.
That's me.
What I'm saying? I'm thinking about the Ella Johnson show. I'm thinking about my children's books. That is just a way for me to pay for it. So I'm not going to bring that to the house. But I know with you're an educator and you take on a lot more because of your job. What is it going to take, Alecia, for you to be able to walk in the door? Because Brian says that if he sees you walk in the door and you throw your purse down, he might as well go ahead and just go handle something else. Go handle it on his own.
That's Alecia.
If she comes through the door
Alecia,
like that, I'm like, oh, it's a wrap.
That's
I'm
a
not getting
wrap.
any
look,
tonight.
Alecia, this might be frowned upon, but this is my answer, okay? Just grab you one of these when you get home. Look, sometimes you just have to do it. You know, sometimes you just have to just, unwind and let it go and just forget about it. Because me, I see death every day.
Yeah.
Right.
I do not bring that mess home. I don't. You gotta figure something out, but I don't.
I agree, Tish.
And it bothers me. It still bothers me, when I'm at home, but hey, I gotta put it on the back burner.
Yeah.
I think that's important to Alecia, because that's something. I mean, but you guys, like what Nichole and Malcolm said, you guys are dealing with first timers together, and the short time you guys haven't even been together a year. So look at what this show is going to do, the stuff that all of us are learning about marriage. Like when I get married again, maybe I'll be able to stay married this time because of what you guys are bringing out on the show, right, Tish? Maybe I'll be able to say I do, and I'll have you give me away. How about that, Tish?
I will, because this is it for me. If this don't work,
that's it.
It's just it.
Ella.
Yes, ma'am.
Also, too, with women, like Alecia was saying, we do wear our emotions here, and it, as the husbands, it's nice when they call us or text us and say, hey, I can't wait till you get home, or some type of sweet, sexy
foreplay
text to let us know what they're expecting when they get home. That's nice too. And also with our 23 years of marriage, it can be up and it can be down depending on what you have going on in your life, especially when you have children. We're having sex every day, but then when the kids come into play, went from every day to maybe 3 or 4 times a week. So, and then it's according to how busy or if someone's sick, we didn't do it in 2 days, or baby, I'm gonna get you tomorrow, but it's, but as long as you're good, both of you are good. If I know that I'm taking care of Malcolm and pleasing him and he's doing the same thing, if that's 1 day a week, that's okay. If he is okay with it, but I know he's not okay with that. So, but you know your spouse.
That's right. Absolutely.
What they need from you. And so as we've grown, I know how to take care of him sexually and how to please him. And that can be every day 1 week. It might be 3 or 4 days the next week. But we're good with that. So if both spouses are good with whatever schedule that is,
that's good. Good
that's
point.
For what somebody else
right.
That's
right.
Good.
Yeah, she's gotten to the point where she'll tell me, "Are you good? You need."
Yeah, so it's gonna say check in.
Yeah, she begins to offer herself. She's like, "I know you, so are you all right?" Because I'm about to go to sleep, so I'm calling this a wrap. Are you okay? Because
I love that. Oh my God, that is beautiful.
Days like like Alecia says she's real tired, or you've been tired, Latishia, I've been tired. It might be one of them lazy sex nights. Not all the foreplay and the hoopla. It might just be one of them lazy ones, but it's the job done. And then next one might be all movie star
fireworks.
Okay. Yeah. So
I'm learning a lot from you married women. I
like the way she said to check in, because I think that's a good idea too, because that's something that I've asked. Are you good? But just checking in to find out where we are. And then there's times where he might need to check in too. So.
Okay. Better check up on it.
You sure better check up on it.
I better.
Because we're going to be coming back for another show. Listen. Okay, so let me ask you guys a question. And I know this doesn't pertain to you guys, but just for the people that are watching the broadcast, this is good information. What if one of you cheat? Should I still, Tish? Okay, this is my question. If I'm going to use Malcolm and Nichole, if Nichole, if Malcolm goes out there and cheats, is Nichole still obligated to have sex with him?
I mean, that's up to Nichole. I think it's up to Nichole. It is and I voiced my opinion on that yesterday. But one thing is, I would never force my opinion on anybody else.
Right.
So
right.
if Nichole came to me and said, "Hey, Tish, Malcolm cheated on me," I'm not gonna tell her, "Girl, leave." That's not. I'm gonna find out where Nichole is, and if Nichole feels like it's worth working on, and I'll tell her, "You need to work on that." If that's what you want and you love this man and he is honestly made a mistake, you guys need to work it out. But if she gets mad, if we're mad, like he said, if she's mad, if she's shut down for 7 days, the candy store is shut down.
Mm-hmm.
And that's her prerogative. She can, now the ball is in her court. You mess up, that ball is in her court now. So now it's gonna go however she wants it to go.
Now, Brian, would a man expect his wife to still have sex with him even if he cheated?
No.
You would let her get over it. You would let her get over it.
I will let her process it, the way that she feels best. But she's not obligated to have sex with him after he done cheated. I wouldn't say so. But I would say let her heal and let them find out why he cheated in the first place. And if it, like Tish said, if it's worth saving, then that's fine. But if it's not, then I would say, go ahead and, go the separate ways. But I wouldn't say she's necessarily obligated to do so if he cheats.
Well, that was a good conversation right there, Tish, because I think that is something that everybody that's married, single, divorced, that is an area that we don't like to talk about because it means I'm going to have to really say what I feel. And I like the answer you gave, Tish, because you basically said it would be on Nichole. If she, whatever she processes, because she may say, you know what, I love my husband and I'm gonna deal with it. And now women, I'm going to ask the women, do you guys, if let's say something like that were to happen, do you talk to girlfriends? Who do you talk to about that? Because women, we have to get it out some kind of way, right, Tish? So who do you talk to and how can you trust their advice? With anything you're going through in the marriage, whether it's cheating, whether you're mad at him today, I'm so sick and tired of this boy. Every time I turn around, he wants sex. I got stuff to do. I'm trying to cook. I'm out here trying to cook. I got to clean the house. And he coming up behind me with an apron on. What is wrong with him? You better go sit down somewhere. Okay. So when you have
see how you're ranting, Ella?
Yeah.
I would rant like that to myself. I don't go to other people because sometimes your friends and family are not going to forget about it. And you guys have mended it and moved on. And your family's still like, look at him. No good behind. She bringing it here. Then it causes issues. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I feel like if your husband cheats on you, it's nobody's business. Just go stand outside and curse and rant. And that's what I would do. I would just rant to myself and kind of get it out, write it down, write my feelings down or whatever. But I don't go to other people.
I agree with you.
Business.
I agree with you.
You make a good point with that. Because when you include other people into your relationship, it's especially family members like parents or close siblings, it's harder for them to forgive than the person who's been hurt. And
agree.
And then you got a new dynamic. Now you're the fool, right?
Yeah.
You're the forever fool, and that's the dirty dog. Male or female. But I think when it comes to infidelity, there has to be a new reckoning, right? So now we got to lay our cards out on the table. The person who's broken the bond has to make a sincere confession and then show it. And then the person who has been hurt then has to accept the sincere confession if they want it to work. But then there's no problem if they hold that person who has hurt them accountable.
Yes.
Right? Because oftentimes, the person who's been hurt is what the woman or even the man. Oftentimes the woman has to hold how she feels because it may not be the proper time for me to say, you know what, I hate you today, right? But no, the person who has actually done the hurting has to, not a literal punching bag, but has to accept the energy of hurt from the person that they hurt.
Right.
And then they have to encourage them that I'll never do this again. I mean, it becomes work. So when we dig that hole, we got to be willing to fill that dirt back in and pack it down. And you got to roll up your sleeves. So, and what most people don't realize, the person that you're cheating with, if you go off into the sunset with them, you're gonna hate them just as much as the one you cheated, you left, you know, because all of us come with different sets of baggage, right? So yeah, whoever may be listening, your moment of infidelity might be good. You might want to leave your marriage for that person, but there's going to be a reckoning for that too, because that gets old.
Good point.
So if you and the spouse that has gone through this, if you're both willing to say, hey, we'll roll our sleeves up and try to make it work, by all means, try to do it.
Yeah. I think marriage is worth it. I do. I had some of those kind of issues, and I was the person that never said no, and I was the person that was forgiving when there was a slight infidelity, but I still got divorced. And I think a lot of what you guys are saying is the reason, because there was no communication. There was no sex even afterwards when certain times, or if I did, it was angry sex. It was non-fulfilling. And then I'm mad about that, because now I've wasted my time. I felt like, so I'm saying that because I know there are people that are in marriages right now that are just kind of indecisive about whether you want to get divorced, whether you want to stay, whether you want to go. And I think that what you guys have shared tonight will help a lot of couples, because you are giving it to them raw. You're giving it to them like, look, this is real. We have to work at this thing. That's what I gather from watching both of you guys and listening to what you have to say, is that you're both still working on some things, So, I mean, what are the plans? We're going to get ready to wrap it up. What kind of plans do we have, Brian and Alecia, for the future for you guys? Like, what are you working on? What kinds of things you want to accomplish?
I think we have our individual goals that we're supporting each other on. And then, just sitting down, and we're still in the stage where we're still sitting down and still trying to figure it out.
Right.
So, and where we're going and what we want to do next, where we want to live next. We're still in that figuring it out stage together.
What advice, Malcolm and Nichole, will you give them at this stage? Because you've been there.
You know what? I just want to say this: you'll always be figuring it out. Yeah. Because on each turn, you've got to go back into your playbook. Like my wife had her doctor's appointment, and she goes to a female physician, and that female physician is in her 60s plus, and she was telling her, "I really don't know what I want to do next." Right? And she's 65 or plus, so we're 20 plus years into marriage, and in every turn we have to go to a new playbook, right? Pretty soon we'll be empty nesters in less than 3 years. It'll be a new experience for us,
right?
And we can't tell you how that's going to be for us, but what we're going to have to do is say, hey, how do we want to make this thing work? When we get to retirement, we're going to have to figure out, because we hear a lot of couples who are in retirement age, and the husband says, I think my wife is tired of looking at me every day. And we have said to ourselves, do we want to be like that? How do we want to make that look? So we are with you guys, Brian and Alecia. We're still going to a playbook on every turn. Our goal is to build a house in 24 months. And they say, however long you've been married, if you can make it through building a house, you can make it through anything, right? So that's a new playbook for us. I mean, we've had arguments, and we haven't even laid a brick yet.
Malcolm, let me help you out. Stay out of it.
Thank you, Latishia. But you know,
Hey, I'm just trying to help you.
That works. But
I have it. She know what she's doing. Let her do this.
Thank you. Thank you.
Hey.
But I also want to add to for Brian and Alecia, you know, marriage is it's good, it's tough. I mean, and we've come to realize it's dying of self daily. And we both should be competing to try to love each other better each day. But it's tough. I mean, it's tough. And, you know, when we first got married, people was like, oh, marriage is great. It is great. But they don't tell you about the work that you have to put into it.
Wow.
And on those days that, you know, it gets really rough for you guys, and you may say, you know what, you know, your mind may start wondering to think about this. Get on your knees and pray and ask God to give you the strength to keep going, because it gets better. It gets better. And to always remember that the devil is trying to break families up, because if he can break the family up, then he has, well, we say the church, you know, your children. But my advice, and we're, like you said, we're still a work. I don't care. We're here we've been together, married 23 years. We still have to fight for our marriage. And so what I'm saying is just hang in there. Hang in there.
Good advice.
We're talking to ourselves at the same time.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we're talking to ourselves sometimes, but just hang in there.
So besides building the house, what do you guys have coming up, Malcolm and Nichole? What's next? What do you want to achieve?
You know, it's just one of those things where, you know, there's a hunger to do something new, you know, ever so often. And like my wife, she's in job transition. And, you know, for me, I always tell my wife, I don't know what I'm going to do when I grow up, you know, and it's just one of those things like we were just talking about what we wanted to do. And my wife is saying, I want to reinvent myself. So, you know, we're continuing on. And like you talked about my background, you know, I counsel during the week and I do other things business-wise during the week too. But you know what I'm going to put on my to-do list now?
What's that?
My book.
Yay!
And then we also have a daughter that's graduating. So now we're in the phase where our kids will be going off to college. And so, you know, right about now is really pouring more into them, you know, making sure that they're good, you know, in college and things like that. So
that book will be a bestseller, Brian, Malcolm. I really feel that, because you know, today it was so strong. I kept seeing that. I said, you got to tell them. It just wouldn't let me be. It just wouldn't. And I'm just so glad. And I like how Brian was saying that he used your quote from last night. He said he gave you credit for it though. But it was very powerful, and it made an impact because one of the viewers actually repeated it. So you've had some signs right there. You came onto the Ella Johnson show and figured out, you know what, I need to write it, because you have too much. You got it. It's a lot in you, and people need to see it and hear it. Your wife said he's very smart, and she was right. She was right. I love it. And and Brian, I'm looking forward to seeing more of your podcast. You know, I'm sure when you're ready for some real confessions, you call me. And you make sure you have to warn your guests about Ella coming. Like, look at here, this is a different one.
I got you. I gotta have you one of my relationship episodes.
I'm telling you, bring me on. I'll go and bring Tish. Tish, she's more experienced than I am. She knows more.
I'm a little rough around the edges. I don't know if they're ready for me, Ella.
No,
that makes the best kind of radio. Absolutely.
That's right. He's right. It does. But Tish, I want to say to you, I'm very proud of you. And I'm not just talking about tonight in this broadcast. I've seen what you're doing for people. And I know you personally. And I know that when you go out to see these people, you internalize that. You really love them. I know that for a fact.
I do.
And And I know your family. I've been knowing you your whole life. We sang in the cherubim choir together at Bethea. You know, even Nichole, we all went to the same church, you know. But I've seen you evolve into a person who God is using, but he's using you his way. And I don't think that people, when you say people are not ready, they need to get ready for this type of ministry, because what you do really is a ministry. You may not see it that way, but you are helping people. You've helped people tonight because you were so raw and so real, and you say things that people think, you know. And I am glad that you came on and decided to be my co-host, because you were like, Ella, girl, I didn't go to school for communication journalism.
Yeah, I didn't at all.
But you love people and you can relate to people. And sometimes relatability is more important. A lot of times, most times, especially for a show like this. So I want to thank you for being my co-host. I want to thank Brian and Alecia for coming on. You guys had to share, and Malcolm and Nichole coming on. You guys had to share some personal stuff on here.
Yeah, we did.
And I know you guys are you were kind of nervous, like, we don't really know. Ella didn't give us any questions.
Yeah.
We don't really know where she's going to, because everything is about all of us. All of us are growing still. The people watching this broadcast, they need to see real talk on TV, because that's the thing that's going to change this world. And you guys have done that. Anybody want to say anything before we get out of here?
Well, thank you for the invitation, Ella.
Well, you're welcome. Anytime. I'm definitely I'm gonna bring you guys back. You guys are a very good pair. We're gonna have to do something else together, really, because Kim said y'all were both Bethel secretaries. Yes.
Oh man, I forgot I was a secretary.
Girl. Well, I got fired. I got fired for being the secretary after I got pregnant. So
well, I got pregnant at 17, and I had to get in front of the church and ask for forgiveness, and I ain't never forgave them since then.
Now, Tish,
I ain't been back.
Tish, now listen, I'm gonna tell you. I brought that out on the broadcast. I brought that on the broadcast one time because I had to do it too. And I thought I was the only one that did that. I don't remember when you did it.
That was horrifying for
it really was.
Pregnant teens to stand in front of the entire church and ask them, imperfect people, to forgive you. That was absolutely horrifying.
It really was.
And I was mortified, and I've never gotten over that. Like, that's why I don't go back. I ain't been back since I was 17.
I did that on an episode of my podcast.
No, I've not gone to church since. Like church. Well, I'm not gonna say that, because I've visited a lot of churches with people, and but no, it's just not my cup of tea. I'm good.
And that was the reason. Yeah. And that was the reason too.
That was one of the reasons.
That's a
wow.
I did an episode of my podcast about church hurt.
That's one of the reasons, but that's not the only reason. It's I'm educated now, so I know a little bit more than what I did when I was younger. So
because you're in medicine, you're in medical care.
Yes.
This is the mindset to have. If I'm on a lifeboat and the people on the boat are acting a fool, I'm not going to get off that boat, right? Because the lifeboat is what's keeping me. But it's the people that's trying to get me to jump ship, right? So it's like that relationship with Christ. It's like some people will tell you, we love Jesus, we just don't like his people, right? And don't let some broken people try to break you more. Right.
Well, I'm too far gone now.
No, you're never too far gone.
I'm too far gone.
Never too far gone.
Because I did a lot of studying in my early years. I did a lot of studying on religion and history. So I'm kind of one of them woke people. So you don't want to talk to me about that.
Well, it depends on what you woke to, right?
You don't want to talk to me.
Oh, you coming back? It's all right. But that was broken people trying to make themselves feel better.
Oh, they did, but that was horrible for me. It was awful.
Yeah. It was. That was unfair. That was unfair because if we were able to write in the dirt their sins, right?
Yeah.
You shouldn't have even been talking to that group of people.
Yeah. So that just scarred me for life.
Yeah. I'm very emotional right now hearing that, Tish, because
it did.
It took everything in me to not allow it to break me in that way. Yeah. And it took some experiences where I was near death that I had to look up to the only God that I had learned on my own, because the church didn't teach him to me. And when I learned how to love and get to know him for myself, I was able to realize what Malcolm just said. And Kim made a good point. I'm gonna tell you about Miss Ola May. And I have to say this because I want to say this to you, Kim, my friend, my brother. Spent a lot of time at your house. And you need to know this about your mom. If it had not been for your mother, and this is real talk right here, if it had not been for your mother, I would have died a long time ago. Because she held my hand as that 17-year-old. Right after they had made us do this, she held my hand and she said, baby, don't listen to them folks. You go on and let God use you. And you going to do good things. Oh, and I never forgot it. I never forgot it. And if it had not been for that, because as kids, we were lost. We didn't know. We were just learning things as we go. And I knew there was a reason that you were very special to me, but I didn't remember that you had to do it too.
I did, and it was awful.
And I want to say to you that if it's the last thing I do in this world, I want to make sure that you change the way you feel about God. Because
it's not my feeling about God. It's my feeling about church.
Church.
I don't need them to make me a better person. What I do is personal. I don't need to go into a building. I don't need that. That's just my personal feeling. I don't need it. Like I became a better person but without the church. Yeah. I don't need the church. Yeah. They've never done anything for me. And I don't see anything I don't see, and there are some good churches, but I just don't see anything that they're doing for the community. There's one every 500 feet in the Black community. The Black community is full of churches, and we are still not prospering. So my issues run because I'm into politics heavy. I'm into a lot of stuff heavy, So right. I just, I see stuff for what it is. You can sugarcoat it. You can do anything you want to, but I'm just going to speak real on it. Okay, that's nice and dandy, but no, let's talk about the real issue here. Let's stop sugarcoating stuff. Let's just say what it is. Let's call a thing a thing. So for me, like I said, I'm too far gone. I'm deep in the crack house. You can't get me. I'm gonna be smoking crack.
I appreciate what you're saying. I appreciate what you're saying. And even Ella made a point. Like she has some near-death experiences, but I'm so confident that I know you're going to have an experience if you ask for it in truth. That it'll turn you around. It'll do a 180 because the church itself is made up of people, right? Mm-hmm. And your testimony is needed.
Yes.
Little girls.
Well, my testimony is.
But there's some little girls. There's some little girls, Tisha. And when I say little girls, I'm talking about women. I'm talking about right here because when you begin to tell your testimony about how you've been hurt and how you've been broken, but you're made whole from a Savior who died on the cross for you, that resonates with people who you may not have thought are listening to you. And this is how God does it. You'll have to say that in front of the people who tried to hurt you. Because there's other people who are needing to hear that amongst those people. That the enemy is trying to mute you. Because the enemy is saying, those are the ones that hurt you. Don't say nothing. But when you get up and say, you know what? I was hurt by a group of people that I thought loved me, but this is what the Savior did for me. Because it's your testimony. And I'm telling you, ain't nothing like it when we start telling our own testimony of what the Savior has done for us.
But what I've done is I've internalized it. I go to people where they are. Okay. You don't have to. I feel like the church wants you to come to them.
Okay.
Under their, hey, these are my guidelines. Sometimes you got to go meet people where they are. Right. So that's what I do. I meet people where they are. I was in psychiatry for almost 10 years. Mm-hmm. So I have helped a lot of people just by keeping it real. Mm-hmm. And even now, as a nurse, sometimes I talk to the family members and people tiptoe around them. I be like, give me the phone. Let me talk to them. Yeah. Look here. Mm-hmm. And I get on the phone and I speak and everybody's like holding their chest. But at the end of the day, the wife or the husband that I'm talking to, because on COVID units, we don't allow visitors. So I gotta, I have to tell them because they be trying to give us the business and they don't understand. We're trying to do everything we can to get your family member well, or at least keep them comfortable in their last days. And a lot of times we catch a lot of flack, because we're the nurse, we're the one there with them all day long. We get blamed for everything. And it's just like I told all the nurses, let's go out to other folks' jobs and harass them all day long. Hey, how you working on my car? You through changing the oil? How's the oil? Every 15 minutes, is the oil coming good? Hey, that paper that you're writing, how's the paper coming? Oh, is it good? Hey, it's 10 minutes later. Is the paper, whatever your job, you a teacher. Hey, how's my son doing? You just break into class. Hey, is he doing okay? Every 10 minutes, every 15 minutes. So we get these phone calls. They want to talk to us on the phone all day long. No, ma'am. We have a job to do too, just like you do. We don't come in your job every 10 minutes or every 5 minutes asking what you're doing. I understand we work with lives, but for me, keeping stuff real, it turns a lot of people off, but it also turns a lot of people on. So I internalize my hurt, and I will say nobody can do anything to you if you don't accept it. So nobody can hurt me because I don't accept it. You can come tell me, hey, Latishia, I think you're ugly. Okay. It don't hurt me because I don't accept what you said. So I do a lot of counseling. I've done a lot of counseling, because I've been there. I've been in so many places that people have been, and they look at me and think, oh, she's perfect. She got this perfect life. And they don't know the half. Like I've been probably everywhere you've been. So I know, and being in psychiatry, those 10 years really helped me to internalize my hurt and to help other people. I work with children from 5 to 12. That was the most heartbreaking thing I've ever done. But those children had nowhere to go. They sent them to a psych ward. We had to take them there. They come in, they're angry, they're hurt. They've been molested, raped, abused from home to home. I mean, people's story. Like, so for me, I'm like, my story ain't really that bad. Because when you talk to other people and you realize what they went through, you kind of appreciate your life a little bit more,
Yeah.
So, but I do have my own little thing going. I do a lot of stuff. Christmas time, I go around and I just buy toys, and people don't even know. Like, hey, I'll see somebody post something on Facebook, and I just send stuff. I say, hey, what's your address? What's your cash out? I do that all the time because money doesn't mean anything to me, but I know it can probably help somebody else. So I'm kind of, I do a lot of stuff. I got my hands in a lot of stuff, but I just don't, it's not really, I don't advertise what I do. Yeah. But just know that all that hurt that I have, I am using it in a positive way. I'm just not using it through the church. Yeah, I got my own little thing going.
Nicole's gonna text you my cash.
Huh?
Nicole's gonna text you my cash.
Tell him to send it. What you need? you need a hurt feelings form because you mad about the baby in there. I'm gonna send you a hurt feelings form.
There you go.
We gotta talk about that because that's the saddest thing I ever heard in my life.
You blew me away with that one too, Malcolm. I was like, I'm waiting on you to say it was a coworker that was hitting on her.
But I can respect him for being honest. He was honest about
it. Guys, seriously, when we would go to couples retreats and couples conferences, men did state when women had babies that, we're focusing our attention on the baby, and they felt left out.
That's right.
Wow.
I've heard that before.
Seriously. Mm-hmm. Right.
I can understand that. But you can get over here. You can come rock this baby tonight while I go to sleep. While I gotta get up every 2 hours. You know what I'm saying? You feel left out. It's plenty for you to do.
Yeah, no, that's right. Listen, I want to make sure that you guys have put everything on the table here. With what you want to say. I don't want to leave without anything. Malcolm, I want to do something different though. I want you to leave this broadcast in a prayer. Can you do that for us?
Yeah.
Before everybody says what they want to say, I just feel like God is giving you the word for this audience and for this group right here. So anybody want to say anything before Malcolm sends us home? Brian and Alecia?
For us to say thank you, but I do have a question, one last question for the couple of 23 years. Just because I hear like that 10, 13, 14 years, when people get around that time frame, sometimes it doesn't continue. Like, I guess, I know communication, I get that, but like, what is it that's the thing that I guess it confuses or bothers me, is like, why are people dividing at that point? Like when you talked about your marriage, Ella, and it was like 12 years, and then I've talked to other couples like 13 years, or like, what kind of happens?
Well, okay, of course we're 23 years. What happens is, I think sometimes if you're not, and I'm only speaking for us, sometimes we can get so caught up in doing our own thing, or get caught up in things that are not as important as family first, whether that's work, your family, your own personal family on your side, or even it can be kids, taking away from you and your spouse, because you're supposed to be as one, and at God first, you and your spouse is one, and everything else falls up under that. And as a couple, if you're not one, how can you be all that you need to be for the kids? How can you maybe put that family member in place that's trying to run your household, or trying to tell you how to live your life? So to me, the devil can throw small, big things at you. And so as you matriculate in your marriage from 1 year to 2, 3, 5, it's something. It's always something. But as a couple, if you just stay together in your mindset, you both are first, no matter what, then you can get through it, because it's always something. And that's just the truth. It's something that you're like, oh wow, where did that come from? So you have to be as a couple and stand as one. So whatever comes your way after that 3rd, 5th, 7th year mark, or 12 or so, you got it.
And then one thing we got to be mindful of too is that marriage is not the do-all, right? So when I say I do, when you buy a car with 0 miles on it, at a particular time, you got to do an oil change, a tire rotation. You got to keep it up. But oftentimes we think, oh, marriage, then kids, or even kids and then marriage, however somebody does it. We think just the family system keeps us together, and that's not true. But what you have to do is you have to maintain your marriage, and that is, go self-help. That means getting books, looking at material, worship together, pray together, couples retreats. Our first couples retreat was Gary Chapman, and we're in our 20s, right? I'm like 25 by then, and there was this guy who was old enough to be my dad. Yes. And men talk to each other at the urinal, right? And he was old enough to be my dad, and that was his first time being at a couples retreat. And he looked over at me, and he was a Caucasian man. He said, "I didn't know I needed this." Ooh. And that hit me, because I always was a forward thinker. Like, hey, if this, an older person is saying this, that means I've got to now protect myself in my marriage.
Not get complacent. Yeah. Not get complacent. Mm-hmm. Sometimes if you've been married to somebody, you may think, I'm gonna just be burping all day in front of them, or
no showers.
Yeah, just don't get complacent. Continue to invest in each other. Take time out for you guys. Don't stop laughing and having fun. Do things together, just like when you're dating. And so, because work and external things can interfere with that, and before you know it, you're in this place where you're just doing the same old, and you're forgetting about the things we did when we first started dating.
Be intentional.
Be
I mean,
intentional.
where you guys live, drive over to Daytona or just walk along the beach, go to Wekiva Springs and just float down the river. I'm serious. I mean, just do some things.
I know. I like that park you're talking about in Wekiva Springs.
Yeah,
the floating river.
Do some things that are within your reach.
Right.
It actually brings you closer. I mean, you don't have to spend that much money to go down the street, you know?
Yeah.
And, I mean, those are some things like sometimes we even forget at 23 years. We're like, we've been working all for several months and we haven't looked at each other in terms of on a trip, just driving somewhere. Like we're close to Nashville. Sometimes we'll just pull up and go to Nashville.
And don't forget to kiss, hug, and touch every day. Because again, you can get so busy, you come home, hey, how you doing? You cooking and you're checking on the kids. But you gotta, I mean, if it's nothing but 15 minutes a day, how was your day, babe? What can I do? I mean, that's worth it. And that's all. Just don't let those external factors interfere with your marriage to where you just forget to be intentional about you guys.
So Malcolm and Nichole, I see you guys leading marriage retreats. I see it. Yeah. I see it. I think that this show and this conversation and what you guys have taught, you're gonna help a lot of marriages. And I can see you guys doing retreats. I really can see that. I can see Brian and Alecia going, and Tish and John going, and me and X going.
I don't know if me and John need to come. We're a bit much.
It's for everybody. It would be for everybody.
Me and John are a bit much. I'm telling you. We are.
You are great together.
We're a bit much.
Your color. Yeah, that's it.
Okay, guys. Well, you know what? I want to thank everybody for tuning in to the Ella Johnson Show. This has been a great 2 days with these couples. You guys are amazing. I've learned so much. Tish, I've enjoyed you being my co-host. And we're going to do it again, guys. I want you guys to stay in touch. You know, I think that would be good. You know, stay in touch and keep each other encouraged. Yeah, I think that was good. And I like you, Alecia, because you asked a question. Most people would have just been like, I'm not going to ask him anything, you know, but you were just like, no, I want to know. Because you guys are going to be together a long time. I don't have a doubt with Brian and Alecia. I know them personally. They are a beautiful couple. But like I said, we're going to get out of here. We're going to be back to the Ella Johnson Show next Wednesday for a totally different topic. We're going to interview Boswell, Samantha Boswell from Monroeville, Alabama. She's going to be here on the broadcast. Yes, that's a homegirl who's doing wonderful, remarkable things. And we love to bring people from back home and bring them on the show so we can see what they're doing. But like I said, Malcolm, I want you to pray us out, and I want you to pray for all the marriages out there in America. And, you know, and once he prays for us, and we're going to end the broadcast, and it'll be a good night, guys.
Awesome.
Go ahead.
Awesome. All right, let's pray. Dear Lord, we just want to thank you so much for an opportunity to call on your name. And Lord, we thank you for this ministry that Ella is doing through her show. And then, Lord, for each individual that has participated in this show, in the words and the things that we have said, Lord. But Lord, we just want to thank you for your love, because there's nothing that we can do that will separate us from the love that you have for us. And Lord, your love is new every morning for each and every one of us. And we thank you for that, for dying on the cross and saving us from ourselves. So Lord, continue to keep us, continue to keep this world, Lord, because we need you. Each individual who makes up a family unit, Lord, keep us. And Lord, what I ask is that your Holy Spirit enlightens us all to let us know how special we are. And no earthly person can take that away. In your name we do pray. Amen.
Amen. All right, guys. This has been another show from the Ella Johnson Show. Thank you all. Have a great evening.
Ella.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And we'll see you all next time. This time, 8 o'clock next week. Thanks for tuning in to the Ella Johnson Show.